Okay, happy Sunday morning, folks. Man, we got a lot of stuff done yesterday. Well, we didn't get a lot of stuff done. I spent a lot of time working on stuff. Let's put it that way. I did get 2 tanks completely done. Oh, we need to clean our work area here. It's like we need to clean some of this stuff up. So give me a few minutes. We'll get some other folks to. Jesus, there's 4 people here already. Happy morning to you. Get your coffee in, folks. It's good. Hopefully you guys are enjoying my company. I'm certainly enjoying yours. This is why I don't do this by myself. It is extremely boring. Even though, our interaction is a little bit on the limited side. And let me go ahead and switch that video, and hopefully it will not switch back. My nemesis is, oh look, see, this time I switched it and it was already facing the right way. I swear this thing is the work of the devil. Yeah, yesterday I switched it and it switched back on its own. Let's get all this etchy stuff out of the way. This is just a piece of extra sprue. Rick Cundiff, Insomnia Sunday. It's not insomnia if you don't have anywhere to go to work to. You don't have to work, so you can stay up as long as you want, Rick. I can't wait till I have to go to work. Actually, I'm doing a lot of work here. Sometimes I do more work here than it... Well, no, that's not true. This is certainly more satisfying, but this does not pay the bills. Which, unfortunately, we all have. Actually, I like having bills, because if you don't have bills, who knows what the government's giving you. Crap. All right. Let's get this stuff out of the way. It's a lot more efficient to do like 4 of the same tanks at once. However, it's a little bit like, man, I'd really like to do a Panzer IV right now or something, Nah, it's all good. We'll get there. We got plenty of Panzers to do. We got plenty more T-34s to do, including T-34-85s, which I don't think I'm going to touch those things for a while until I can solve the basing situation. I got a couple ideas I'm going to try, but I'm not in a hurry to paint my 3 Panthers that I have. That's a good thing about a game. You can use 3 or 4 Panthers when you have 8 T-34-85s. Not a problem. Not a problem overpowering them. I haven't looked at the stats. I'm pretty sure that a T-34-85 can take on a Panther head on in under 500 meter range, which is basically what you're doing at. Most of the shots in this game are going to be like 200 meters and closer. So, you did wake up at 3. I would rather wake up at 3 than stay up till 3. I can handle waking up at 3. I cannot handle staying up till 3. I had a little bit of trouble going to sleep last night because I was drinking some coffee throughout the day a lot later than I should. And even though it was cut half and half with water, still it was pretty strong. So there's a couple things that I forgot to do yesterday, and one of these antennas broke, so we'll have to re-drill it as well. But I forgot to put the annulling oil on the vents in the back. So we're going to go ahead and do that before we're completely done with these 2 guys. And then we'll move on to the next T-34-85, which, if you guys were in the feed yesterday, you heard me mention that I wasted about 3 hours of my day. Not wasted, because it wasn't like I was stressed out while I was looking for it, but I spent a lot longer than I should have looking for a certain T-34 that I wanted to paint up. And I didn't find it yesterday while I was painting, or before I was painting. And I don't. It was strange that I did not save this illustration of whatever it is, so it'd be easy to find. And I knew there had to be a good reason for it. I was either going senile, which, we're all one step closer to going to senile every day, or there had to be a good reason. I did find it yesterday. And the reason I didn't save it is because it was on a decal set that I normally frequent. And I didn't remember to write myself a note that that's where it was. The problem is when you search for it, it's like on the fourth page of the decal set. It's this decal set that are made in Russia called colibri. I don't know how you say it in Russian, but that's how you would say it in Spanish. It means hummingbird. And they make decal sets for 1/35th scale and 1/72nd scale tanks. And it's in their Stalingrad set. I looked over that thing multiple times, but because I did not click on all the other pages, it doesn't appear on the first page of the examples of the decals that come in the set. So regardless, I found both of the tanks. And what reason I wanted to do them was because they were this style of hard edge turret, and they had a white band across the top of the turret on the outside, which made them unique. I want these tanks to look unique, not paint them all the same like they're part of some unit, because whatever unit I pick, it's going to be a little dull if they all are the same unit. If you're building 9 tanks and they're all the same. Can you guys see that? There's the difference between the normal oil and not the normal oil. Just makes it pop a little bit more. I forgot to do that. Alberto Martin Bartolome, welcome. Yeah, you need to get a speaker on your computer because that way we can talk. You sent me a bunch of messages, and the problem I have, and I'm going to go ahead and explain this in English so everybody can understand it. I'll go ahead and repeat it in Spanish for you. The problem I have is when I send a text to you, every single text I send, I have to correct word by word because it wants to change it in Spanish. I can text in Spanish, but my vocabulary is extremely limited because I never went to school in it. So it was all conversations I would have with my mom and dad. So it's very, that's the kind of vocabulary I know. With that said, I don't have a problem texting in it. I just can't go word by word. I mean, it literally was taking me, to send you 2 sentences, it was taking me like 10 minutes of correcting my own typing and stuff. Because I don't type everything perfectly. Like, I don't know where the accents on words go, but I've read enough things in Spanish that I know the spelling pretty good. I do okay, but I can't send you a text that every sentence takes 7 minutes. You haven't slept today? Yes, I did. I just got up. I slept about 6 hours. So, lo que estaba diciendo es que no te puedo comunicar por text, porque lo que pasa es que cada palabra que hago lo tengo que corregir todo, porque me quiere cambiar todo en inglés, como que está cambiado mal. Entonces, ponte un audífono y te llamo por teléfono, o te llamo por Facebook. Así se puede aclarar las cosas. Anyways, so Alberto was sending me a lot of stuff on the Spanish Civil War, which is a period I haven't gone into for a couple of reasons. The main one is it's just, I don't game in it. I don't game Spanish Civil War. I've thought about doing the naval aspect of the Spanish Civil War. I've come across a lot of material regarding some scenarios. And naval wargaming is really where I started my wargaming, so I like that. But I just haven't gotten around it. I don't do the naval stuff anymore. Good morning, Barnes White. Welcome back. I do have a book on Audible on the Spanish. The problem with the Spanish Civil War stuff is I don't I don't want to get a book that is, let's see, how can I put this? It seems to me as an outsider on the Spanish Civil War, I could be wrong. Unlike the Second World War, there's still feelings on both sides. It's a little different. Like there's a lot of revisionist stuff. So I really don't want to read something that seems like it's skewed from one side or the other. But I do have one on my Audible watch list, but I just haven't clicked on reading it because I'm not going to game it, you know? I think there's a lot of potential really interesting naval scenarios between what actually happened and, you know, potential neutrality patrols. You can go and intercept one side or the other. There's my favorite sculptor in 20 millimeter scale, which is this guy right here, Dave Alsop. He made a line of figures, and the reason I know this is I actually saw them first and knew that they were his work, of Spanish Civil War figures in this scale. And there was a gentleman by the name of Pat. I forgot what his name is. He passed away several years ago, and he put on shows at the convention. I never played any of them. At the convention we used to go to, and he, I think, had control, or he had the molds for his figures for the Spanish Civil War. So there is, I mean, I love these figures. This is what got me into doing this scale. I need to fix his base so I don't have to keep saying, excuse the basing from 1995, because that's what it is. But I haven't gotten into gaming yet. You can use Google Translate. Pat Condre, that's right. I never played his game. Que feo quedó el enlace. I don't know what that means. I don't know what enlace means. See what I mean? Vocabulary. Yeah, I never played any of Pat's games. It seemed like he wasn't doing skirmish, though. He was doing almost like a command decision style game or whatever. But anyhow, with that said, the Spanish Civil War is probably more interesting to me than any other Civil War. No, that doesn't mean a whole lot because I generally am not interested in the Civil War. Certainly not the American Civil War, which I'd give up gaming if that's the only. If there was only war gaming and American Civil War, I wouldn't war game. I really dislike the American Civil War. And it's a mixture of everybody being American. I have no tie into it because my people weren't here, you know, so that's the tie-in a lot of people have. Oh, my great-grandfather was on one side and my great-grandmother's side was the other ones and they fought over this, or that doesn't grab me. And I don't like the fashion of the period. I don't like the hairstyles that people wore, nor the uniforms, you know, so. Enlace, okay. Yeah, I could use Google Translate, but man, I don't have the time for it, you know. It just takes too much time, so. Get your computer working and we can have us a phone call. And I can speak Spanish and get better at it. I could read out of a book. And it's not a pronunciation issue. I've never been to school. Nordic, you're awake. Nordic is awake. Okay. I'm not going to fool with this thing yet, but I wanted to drill it for the antenna that broke. It's just a piece of blah. So, interesting comment. I should make a channel. I'm gonna make a blog, not a blog. I should make a channel we didn't have this shit in the 80s. or 90s, whatever. We didn't have this shit last century, and the premise would be that stuff that used to work just doesn't work anymore. And there's a whole long list of things. There's a lot of things that work a lot better now. Don't get me wrong. I think our paints and stuff are infinitely better than they are now. Obviously, this technology is unbelievable. But one of the things that doesn't work well anymore is sprue. Okay? In the early 90s, I used to make like the bent stretch sprue piece of cake, right? The plastics we have now are garbage for that. I kept all of these sprue from Plastic Soldier Company. I figured, oh, okay, I was struggling to find some the other day, so I kept all this and tried to make sprue. It's terrible. I don't know, it doesn't work. It doesn't work. So I may end up buying some wire and use Jesus, have a drink. Not enough caffeine. Brass rod, thank you for it, because I'm just having a hell of a time making it. Your sleep pattern is screwed to hell and back being sick with an ear infection. Are you still unemployed? Because if you are, then, well, I hope you're not unemployed, but actually I hope you're unemployed and paying your bills. I wish I was too, but it doesn't work that way. But, yeah. Okay, so, last night I did find the Colibri decals for this T-34, which I'm going to pull now, and that's what we're going to do next, because it is really interesting. And actually, there's two of them. One of them had they're both on the same thing. Let me just stop talking and pull it down here, and I'll show it to you. And of course, I saved it on my phone, not on my computer, but this is easy to find. Colibri decals. Once, I don't know how you would say Colibri in Russian. Colibri. Colibri decals 172nd Stalingrad, because it's a set of Stalingrad T-34s. And there's two sets. Part 1 or the part 2. I'm going to guess it's the part 2 because it's the later tanks. Let's see if I guessed right. I did. All right. This is off of eBay. This should be a decent enough picture. We're going to save image as. Save. Okay, and then we're going to go here. Unfortunately, not employed right now. Hope to be ASAP, but the job market is quite bad around here, so it's fighting a battle uphill. Yeah, the job market is really strange. You know, we're super busy at work, but then people aren't taking things. So it just, every day is stranger and stranger. All right, let's go to the images. Let's see what image we got here. Yeah, we can replace this Mark III up here. We're going to come in here. We're going to browse, and let's put up that decal I just downloaded. And this actually has both of the I gotta be careful I don't overshoot it. I can find it. Technology is supposed to make stuff easier, isn't it? Know how it works? Sometimes you download it, it actually doesn't download stuff. Here it is. Open. Done. Okay. This is the set right here, and this actually has both of the sets here. This one at the bottom is the one that you found Nordic yesterday, and uniquely it is also number 27. And since I already have a 27 tank, well, now I'm blocking my own thing. There we go. The 27 tank, I'm probably not going to do it, or I could just change the number of it. That's probably a good idea. But we're going to do 20 first, which, as you see, it has a circular symbol here. I'm circling with my mouse, but I guess you guys probably can't see my mouse on there. That is a circular symbol there that we're going to do with this one. We don't want to do that with an open hatch. That's I could do it. What's going to happen is someone who doesn't know that it's circle is going to look weird, like some of it is on it. So we're going to put a white circle on the roof there, and number 20. Okay, and that's what we're going to do with this one this morning. And this is actually the one that is missing a fender. I cut that thing off, and I wish it was easier to do. I guess I could use a Dremel, but honestly, they're dangerous. What I need to do is probably find some kind of there's probably a chuck I can put on the end of my drill, like a standard drill, because a standard drill, it'll go really slow, and then use that to cut the side of that. I may try that on something I don't mind damaging. That's kind of strange. It's a Russian company called Kolibri. I agree. Maybe it's Kolibri. So in the details here, take 20 and 27. It has it in Russian and English. It says number 20, 26th Brigade, Stalingrad direction, August to September 1942. So this is a tank that I associate with 1943. And here it is, supposedly with this hard edge style turret, still in autumn of 1942. I'll take their word for it. Stalingrad direction, August, September 1942. Aerial identification mark, white circle, and ground identification mark, white stripe around the tower perimeter. Interesting that they call it a tower instead of a turret. That is the world's shortest tower, if that's the case. And then number 27 is also from the 26th Brigade in the Sadovaya area. Signs of aerial, white triangle, and ground white stripe along the perimeter of the tower. Identification are clearly visible. Stalingrad, September 42. Okay. So we're going to start with 20. That's what we're going to do, and we're going to do it on one that has a closed hatch. And the little drawing there that shows what is showing on each hatch is pretty handy there. We may have to modify that based on the parameters of the actual tank look like. And what I mean by that is sometimes these models I'm doing are not shaped correctly. For instance, if you look at this at a glance, and I know some people will say, oh, this tank model is really old. Though that's fine. But still, I have to point this out because I know better. You look at this, and the front angle of the front of the turret doesn't look right. You see this? You see this line right here? That's really actually what's the most noticeable wrong about this. Regardless of the road wheel style and the tread pattern. I'm not a tread pattern Nazi, okay? I'm actually not any kind of a Nazi, but that's beside the point. But a tread pattern Nazi, this is a really rudimentary way of making the early war track pattern, which this tank didn't have. But, that's not noticeable, honestly, compared to other things. But the angle at the front of the turret is near vertical, where in reality it should be more angled like this. It probably should be angled about twice as much as that is. I'm not sure what the angle is on that. I'm going to say 5 degrees. It probably should be about 10. So I see the curve at the bottom. That looks off to me the turret. Curve at the bottom. I'm not sure what you mean by that. But that's the thing that's the most noticeable to me. It's also a little more narrow than it normally would be. But whatever. It's a play piece. So, If you go and look on ScaleMates and stuff like that, or all those reviews, every model has problems with them. They just shouldn't be that noticeable, you know? Okay. So we may have to modify how the circle is because this turret doesn't exactly match what a real one is. So, but we will make that determination when we get there. So I'm going to do the same thing I did last time, which is I'm not going to postpone my happiness. And I'm going to go ahead and start painting the markings, which is what I really enjoy doing. More than anything else, is I really enjoy doing the markings. So let's get Mr. Wet Palette out here. Somebody was kind of, this one guy kind of, I don't know if he took exception to what I said, but it's like, hey, you know, that kit's really old. I said, well, I have to put on my post that it's inaccurate because I don't want people to think that I think that it's accurate, which it isn't, you know. And then if you don't put that, then somebody bitches. You just can't make people happy, you know. Here's the thing: if you don't like something on the internet, walk away. That's what I do. I don't go like I'm gonna make my stand and defend. Whatever, man. Go find a crusade somewhere else. You know, I have all these kits. Yes, they're inaccurate. What am I going to do? Not use them? Throw them away? No. You know? We have them. Let's make the best of them. You know? As I like to say, I would like to think that I'm doing some of the best paint jobs, especially with this one, that these Skytrex models have ever seen. Nobody's painted hand-painted freaking decals on a Skytrex model that's 30 years old or 40 years old or 50 years old, maybe. Anyhow, just like this. This is a 1/87th scale quad-barreled. I think it was you, Nordic, that said this was your least favorite German vehicle. Somebody said it. Doesn't matter. I have it. It's way out of scale. It'll be fine as a piece that, you know, somebody has to go knock out because it's knocking down a bunch of planes. You know, there's your mission for a scenario. Take this thing out. Whatever. It's out of scale a little bit. Okay, I have it. I wouldn't have bought it, but I already have it. So. You found a copy of the O Group rules. I'm leaning towards using them for fighting battalion level games. The rules are base agnostic. Base agnostic. I love when you use terms, and I've actually heard that before, but I like those terms that don't normally go together, you know. Okay, let's get the brush of extreme faith. And Mr. White out here. Oh, somebody said they didn't like it. That's fine. I can see it. I don't like, you know, the vehicles that I think are really ugly? Anything that has, and this just goes in general, any vehicles that are like from the 40s that are style of like those long-range desert group Chevrolets. They have those hoods. They're too roundy. They're just ugly as shit, in my opinion. Doesn't mean I won't build them. It's just, you know, they're unattractive, you know? Yeah, base agnostic. I think that's a funny term. I know what I meant immediately. It's not counterintuitive. Yeah, when you use two words that don't go together. Let's get some, I don't think I dropped a new one of these. Let's do this again. I was proud of myself for doing this yesterday. I'd like to think that I'm getting better at this as I go. That may not be true. Let's soak up some of this. I actually read somewhere you could reuse these. Never occurred to me. And now we have this real estate available. Let's see if we drop a drop of this if it gets contaminated. No? Okay. Yo copio el texto. Lo que dice cada uno de los. I'm here to amuse you sometimes. Yeah, well, I'd like to think that I'm here for the same reason. And just for the record, I am entertained. Are you not entertained? Hell yes, I am. Okay. Yeah, I think the Spanish Civil War, to me, is probably, I'm interested in reading about it, but there's no gaming prospect. I think my attitude with the Spanish Civil War is going to be really similar to the Eastern Front. Both sides are bad. Both sides are, and I'm rabidly anti-communist, but I also hate dictators. There's a reason why they're called dictators. But all I'm going to say is, that guy really played his cards right. I mean, he might not have been a nice guy, Franco, but he did the right thing not throwing in with Hitler, because look how long he was around after that. Okay. Look after them. Okay. Let's paint this band. Let's paint the band. And we're going to go really thin on here. Let's see. You guys want the top view? Let's do the top view. Oh, it's going to be blocked. You guys want the top view even though it's crick-crocked a little bit? I don't want to straighten it out because it's in my way. Or you want to just go the standard view. Take a vote. Which one you want? I know you guys are doing other stuff. You're not sitting there going, I wonder what he's going to do next. I mean, I've listened to other people do podcasts before, and I'm doing my own thing as well. So it looks like it's circled. It's centered on both. It's centered on both hatches. Okay, which is funny because the hatches aren't straight. The hatches are not one. See, that's what I mean. I may have to modify it. You want to see the top view? Okay. Hydration papers. Okay. All right. Let's see. You want to be on top. Got it. All right. Let's see if I can. Let me go up over this light. Let's do this. Okay, so it's not in my way right now. And let me take this. Ah, shit. And wrong one. And zoom in. Okay. I think that's probably the way to do it. And can I get you more light? Let's see if we can brighten this up for you. Well, I want you guys to follow along. Okay, there we go. That should be much better for you. And we'll hit OK. And we're going to click down here somewhere to get rid of that window. I can't do that. I got to minimize it. Okay. Sorry, Rick, you got voted out. I'm not blonde, Asian, or female. I am more blonde than the other two. I have a blonde hair in here somewhere. I'm glad I'm not your type. Oh. It's Mitch's feet you guys want to see. So here's the problem I'm having. Because these two hatches aren't lined up, they're off ever so slightly, right? And the circle goes over both of them equally. I'm going to have to use some magic power. I don't know what that means yet. Let me just do some sketching on here right now. That doesn't look bad. Let's start that and maybe extend it a little bit. This is so much easier to use than using an actual pen. The problem with a pen is you have whatever size the pen is, that's the size you get. And as you're scoring it, you're damaging whatever it is under because you've got to like use pressure. And it just, pens don't work. They don't work for me. I think what I'm going to do is it'll work. I just have to make the circle a little undersize. Let me start with that and let's just see where it takes us. Let's just see where we go from there. No, this is actually the best angle for me, even though it's difficult to kind of reach in there. All right, now let's take this and enlarge it a little bit. Let's add a little bit more amount of paint. I need to go buy more of these brushes at Hobby Lobby. Well, not today, I won't. They are in deep prayer today. They're not open on Sundays. It's fine that other people have certain days off or whatever. Some of you people that work at grocery stores, you know who I'm talking about. You guys have the weirdest freaking days off. I guess ultimately it doesn't matter as long as your 2 days off a week are next to each other, right? So like if you're off on Monday and Tuesday like some people that don't wear shoes, at least it's 2 days back to back. The only downside there is that I can see from having the 2 days off that I have, which is, you know, the day most people have off, Saturday and Sunday, is that if you go to somewhere like, you know, a theme park or something that's really crowded, it's going to be really crowded on your days off. But other than that, I like being off when most people are off. So an important thing is you need to be off when your significant other is off too, unless you don't want to see them. You're waiting for Hobby Lobby to put some of their expensive brushes 40% off. I'm glad I don't work at a grocery store anymore. That was horrible. I've worked at a grocery store a long time ago in the 80s. And there's worse. Retail's not bad. I'm glad I don't work at a restaurant. I've never worked at a restaurant. I can't imagine. I just can't imagine. España no es potencia mundial, pero los trabajos en la administración están cotizadísimos. See, I don't know what that means. I don't know what cotizadísimos means. Y la exigencia es brutal. See, that's the vocabulary problem I have. I could look it up, but I'm in the middle of painting. Sorry. That's a high school word, and I didn't go to high school in Spanish. All right. Yeah, the problem with retail is, well, other than what they pay you, is, back when I worked those jobs, there were no cell phone bills you had to pay every month, and if you didn't have one, you didn't feel like you were going to break down without one. Bueno, por lo menos me imagino con ser tan exigente, también soy muy profesional. I won't work retail ever again. Prefer an office job, which is far easier than some of my medical issues. I don't think retail's that bad. Except you got to deal with customers that don't. When you deal with people that deal with people, it's a lot easier. But we deal with people that just don't have any, that get stepped on their whole life. Yeah, you don't want to deal with that. Tony se escojona con todo lo que digo. It means very expensive. Okay, so what is... Pero su trabajo en la administración are expensive. Yeah, that's the thing is, I'm trying to have a conversation. You're basically dealing with, somebody who's never been to school. Like if I have to try to have a conversation with somebody in Spanish about what I do for a living, it's painful because it's a lot of technical words. And I find it very strange when I listen to something, and I've listened to newscasts and stuff in Spanish and not been very successful in understanding 100% what they're trying to. Well, I know what they're trying to get at, but exactly in detail, it's a lot of words end up being replaced with English words as you go along, and I'm like, you're just changing every other word, so I don't know. I don't. I'm not that very fluent with it. Okay. I don't know if I keep enlarging that one. It might work out. Let me make it a little bit bigger. How big is it on the hatch? It needs to be bigger than that. It needs to be bigger on the hatch. Let's. He's talking about the requirements being brutal. Yep, I caught that. Está bien en remunerado. Oh my God. Y un empleo para toda la vida. Okay, so it's a job that you're set. You're not going to get fired from it. Can't make out mucho tiempo libre. Oh, lots of time off. Okay, so like you work for the government here. Yeah, you get a lot of time off. They don't pay you shit, but you get a lot of time off. Very well, and gives you lots of free time. So it's a lot of study. It's worth it. I couldn't work for the government. Yeah, you get a lot of time off, but it's not even the rate of pay here. It's just that I don't want to work with somebody because, oh, well, you got hired. Why? Well, because you're Chinese and over 300 pounds. That's what we needed. Like, how about get people that are good at the job that they are? Who cares what color they are? Or whatever. At least that's the perception it has. Or, People that can't make decisions. Like I detest calling anybody in government because nobody can make any decisions. You know, and it's empowering to make decisions. And it's not that I'm a control freak, but you know, it's good to make decisions. And you have to stand by them. You can't just like pawn them off on somebody else. Like, well, I didn't say that. And I also think that once you work for the government, you can't go in the free market anymore. You're used to a rate of work that is really slow. I'm just talking about most government jobs. Obviously, there's some that are more high stress than others. So, and I wouldn't want to work somewhere that's political. You know, people with 2 university degrees. Oh dear God, no. Oh, let's see here. Oh, crap. Let's see. Let's go back up here. People with 2 university degrees, lawyers, psychologists, to be a jailer in Spain, we're crazy. Yeah, see, that doesn't make sense to be a jailer. On one holiday, Spain, amazing. My hotel staff know French, German, Russian. It amazes me that there's still languages like Russian, Greek, Arabic. Just use our freaking, just use our letters. Can you just use our letters, please? Can we just agree? You got to use the letters that 90% of the world uses and the numbers that 90% of the world uses. And then we can at least look at a sign and go, okay, that probably doesn't mean the bathroom. You know? I'll tell you what I hate about English. When it comes to history, there's so much history on like English kings, English that. I'm like, you know, there's another part of the fucking world, folks. You know, there's like Italy, there's France, Spain, you know. Luckily with the internet you could find it, but it's like, you know, you go to a bookstore and like, I want to read some historical. It's like the Tudors, the freaking kings of England, like boring, you know. I guess that just, you know, it requires another level of translation that, you know, you need somebody to translate it into something else, and it's just easier to write about stuff that's, you don't have to translate. We can clean this up with green if we need to, but I'd rather do it right and not have to cleaning it up because fixing stuff is a waste of time. So tell people at the plant and do it right the first time. I'm gonna leave that there. I'm gonna leave that there. We're just going to, you start pushing that way and it's gonna run into issues where it's gonna seem really unbalanced as you get closer to these 2 hatches. Because even the holes for the hatches weren't straight. Nice big target for the Stukas, that's right. Man, I love Stukas. You're married to a Chilean. One of my biggest regrets is not asking my grandfather to teach me Dutch before he passed. He spoke Dutch fluently. We would always speak with a Dutch accent when speaking English. I'll tell you one thing though, I do get really defensive about a couple things in Spanish. There's things that there's one thing I actually get really defensive about. Not defensive, but just like, really? You did it again? Why do you guys call, in English, why do people, and everybody should know who this guy is. Anybody who's a war gamer anyways. The father of modern infantry, Gonzalo de Córdoba. Why do you guys call him Gonsalvo? Like, that's just stupid, man. Gonsalvo. Who the F is Gonsalvo? I got pet peeves like that. People that spell the name of that German battleship without the C in it. I mean, even the freaking capital of North Dakota is spelled correctly. Shit like that. Yeah, I think that this actually turned out really well, considering what it was looking like when the hatches weren't lined up. That wasn't a good sign. Is Tony of Dutch descent? Not at all. No. That old man was tough, I'll tell you that. He got hit in the arm by a bolt of lightning and survived. Woke up in the hospital and couldn't speak English. Bismarck is an easy name to remember how to spell. Yep, I agree. When you spell it right. One of my favorite stories growing up is I used to do naval war gaming, and there was a scenario that they were running where it was the twins, Scharnhorst and her twin, right? They were out there raiding. And the guy who was commanding the twin ship, which actually was the command ship when, it was the flagship when they went out together, when she was commanded by Lutyens, who ended up sinking on the Bismarck. The other ship, the GN ship, he called the other ship Gnisnu. That's creative. That's really creative, calling the ship Gnisnu. Well, we all have our pet peeves. I try to pronounce things correctly, though. And that's one of my things is, you watch some program where, like take a series that Mitch and I actually liked a lot was Versailles. And it's about, Louis the 14th. And most of the actors are English. And I think of all of the main actors, if there's 20 of them, I think only like 3 even attempted to do a French accent. And it's like, that does not take that much training to be able to do. It doesn't have to be 100% convincing, but you don't need to sound like you're from Yorkshire when you're playing a French character. That was my big gripe about Death of Stalin. Everybody loved Death of Stalin, and I just couldn't get over. And I know somebody said they did it for a reason. Well, it's the wrong reason. I couldn't deal with oi and don't get me started. I hate it how people, particularly US, say, yep, yeah. I think it's everybody says that. Because there's a lot of ignorant people here in this country. There's a lot of ignorant people in the whole world. Trust me. I've seen your Essex people out there, interviews with people that just don't know anything. There's dumbasses everywhere. Poligota. What's políglota? Let's see here. Cuando está agachado, okay, when I'm hunched over, Tony looks like he's speaking with the T-34 tankist. That's right. That's right. I'm telling him how to not to be a communist anymore. What did I say last night? Remember that old saying, communists aren't people? Nazis aren't people either. You shouldn't try to control other folks, man. How can you not spell that? It's an easy word to spell. No me chilles, que no te veo. Oh, man. Why do some people say Bastonia? I've never heard that before. I've never heard of Bastonia. I've actually never heard somebody not call it Bastogne, ever. You're just hanging around the wrong people. By the way, you should get rid of some of those people on your friend list that all you like to do is argue with every single thing you say. Either you need to like watch your words a little bit more careful, or stop being friends with anti-Ricks. I've even had to ban some people that are friends on your page. One of the guys that follows you around is like a devout communist. I'd love to see him spend a couple years in a gulag, see how he turns his ass around. I don't get in arguments with people on the internet, but they're just some people I wouldn't mind if if a fist found their nose kind of thing, you know? Some folks there's no cure for. You know who I'm talking about. Some words are hard for me to spell because of a small child. I like to think I have really good spelling, and part of it has to do with because I have a last name that's not uncommon, but the ignorant people on this continent can't spell it. Because of that, I am very conscious of other people's spelling of their names because I know that it's important, because it's important to me. And, Tony speaks English, reads stuff in Spanish, and paints Russian tanks and talks to a tanker. Nastarovia. I don't know any Russian words, sorry. Hurrah! All you have to know is hurrah! And I can't do it at the normal voice because I'll wake up the girls. Playing Russians is fun. I enjoy playing Russians. I enjoy playing everybody except Americans. I'm already American. Tony the Tank Whisperer. So you sent me a picture of, and the things you sent me a picture of Picasso. And yeah, I'm not a fan of Picasso on any level. I don't like communists. Like I said, I don't like the people the communists fight either. But somehow that's more accepted than to be a communist. And he's just a shitty painter. He could have painted better, but it was cop out. That's like me doing a shit job and go, well, I could do it right, but you guys aren't worthy of seeing it. Bullcrap. And I'm not, and you have a museum where they have something like Picasso and somebody who's like a master like Diego Velázquez is just like a sin. And, art doesn't have to be 100% realistic. I like impressionistic stuff, or as I like to say, looking at it with my contacts out. because it's a little blurry. And I kind of paint impressionistic to a degree, but, you know, not a fan of, I don't think my daughter's ever painted that badly. But hey, if you, I'm not saying you shouldn't like that kind of stuff, but I'm thinking anybody could do better than that. So that doesn't deserve to be applauded. My daughter does watercolors, which I think is really, it's the opposite of what I'm doing. She puts the colors in backwards. I go dark and go light. And she's pretty talented in it. And when we went to New York, I asked her if she wanted to go to the MoMA. And, if we had an unlimited amount of time and it was free, I would have gone just to go laugh at shit. We would just go walk around and just let it. Now, there's some stuff in there that, I can appreciate. Like, isn't Van Gogh's there? And Van Gogh's, it's not my favorite, but, there's some talent there. There's some stuff you can see that effort goes into it. But yeah, I took an art appreciation class once, and I think I was a class comic. You do. Call of Duty. Only American forces I like playing are the Marines and airborne troops. Really? Not a fan of either one of them. No, I'll play any of them. It's just part of it is like having a fun accent, and it's no American accents aren't fun. We're an amalgamation of all kinds of different stuff. Victory Day parades. The Russian Ejército shoots. Okay, anyone know makes 12mm World War II? This sort of kind of plastic. Anyone else just PSC? Tony, what are your thoughts on Baroque music? I am quite a fan of Vivaldi. I don't know enough about it to make a decision. I don't know. Music is. I am not musically inclined. Like talent, I'm not. I'm artsy. I'm not that kind of artsy. So I think all of it is really complicated to play. I'm not born or programmed that way. Just like I think anything that's art and visual like this, I think is super easy to me. Or I'm in tune with that frequency. With that said, there's certain parts of life that I am what's the word I'm looking for? I am more accommodating with. There's certain things that I'm more flexible with. And compared to most people. And the thing I'm the most flexible with is probably food. Now there's things I won't eat, don't get me wrong, but they usually involve animals or parts of animals that I won't eat. If it's vegetables, I'm fine with food, as long as it's not freaking ketchup. Okay, I am really good. Like if you invite me to your house, I'm probably gonna eat whatever you serve me. I'm not that much of a picky eater. On the other end of the spectrum is probably music. And that doesn't mean that I can't listen to things, but there's a lot of, I dislike most music. That doesn't mean that I think that there's no effort in playing it. It's just, it doesn't speak to me. I don't know if that makes any sense or if I explained that correctly. So I was trying to tell that to somebody the other day. A lot of people are really, really, really picky eaters. Like, I only eat macaroni and cheese, or especially children. Are like, we didn't do that with the daughter. My daughter knows how to eats everything. So, I used to play the trumpet, but wanted to play the violin. I never wanted to play an instrument. It doesn't resonate with me. Baroque music. I don't know. I don't know anything about Baroque music. I'm sorry. That would be pre-Bach, right? So pre-harpsichord. So I dislike most music because most music doesn't speak to me, you know, and that's okay. I can't be into everything. Jeez, wise man once said I can't be into everything. But like, if I choose to listen to stuff, like yeah, they look good. Hanumags are probably my favorite. I have to pass on the 12 mil stuff. It's all late war, and I'm just not in the late war. Let me give you an example. Led Zeppelin. Lots of people like Led Zeppelin. I haven't listened to every song they've done, but obviously, and I don't know them by name, most of them, but if you played them for me, I probably recognize 16 or 17 of them, just from getting airplay from rock music, because that's what I listen to when I listen to stuff. But I drive a lot slower when I'm listening to books on tape, if you know what I'm talking about. There's only one of their songs that I like. That, I actually have them on a playlist, and that's their rock and roll song, because it's a traditional sounding song. But I'm going to tell you this about them. They don't speak to me because a lot of the music is either like, it's hard to listen to, or it's a little too chaotic for my taste. But that doesn't mean, but all of their songs sound significantly different from each other in style. And I think that is a value that, that is, that I can appreciate. Although I don't care to listen to it, I can appreciate their best song is Babe, I'm Gonna Leave You. Okay, so, and I'm not knocking them, but and if you think about it logically, and there's a couple of guys that do like music reviews and stuff like that I watch on YouTube that are really, really talented, and they break songs down by different parts, and they make you realize things that you don't normally see. And the other band I can think right off the bat that also is very similar is Queen. Queen has songs that are all over the place, and I think that shows what kind of talent is there, because they're able to do lots of different types of music and still be successful at it. I don't know if I'm trying to, if I'm being successful in what I'm trying to say. So, it's almost kind of like you got this chef, all right? Man, we talk about all kinds of different stuff here. Maybe that's the attraction for you guys, but it's like a chef. It's a chef that you go, and the chef's really talented, and the chef can do French food, and he can do Italian food, and he can do sushi, and he can do, let's just leave it at those three, okay? But you don't like sushi, so it doesn't matter how good their sushi is. I don't care for sushi. I actually do like sushi, but just in this example, you only like one kind of food, so you only like that chef's cooking when he cooks the one kind of food that you like to eat. So it's kind of like that. I had a friend of mine who loved Black Dog. Mine would have to be Immigrant Song. Okay. Tangerine is really underrated as well. See, I probably have heard Tangerine, but don't recognize it by name, because one of the problems with growing up at the time period that I did is songs would get airplay. And if they didn't announce what the name of the title song was, and if the title of the song was not in the chorus, which is where it should frickin' be, okay, in my opinion, then I don't know what the hell the song's called. So I'm sure I know what Tangerine is. It's just, I'm guessing. Not a Queen fan, to be honest. Out of curiosity, to English speakers, Tony has a particular accent. Pentatonics. There's some talent there. Scott's up. To an Australian, he sounds generic US to me. I have a problem. I will morph. So there's certain parts of the world that I'm forbidden to go to, like Boston, because I'll come back with that accent. I have an Atlantic accent. Well, that's where my people cross that body of water. It makes sense that I would have an Atlantic accent. So I don't know if I explained the music thing properly, but you know, and different things speak to different people, and that's okay, you know. Um, you know, there's certain things that I'll hear and I'll go, I don't know why anybody would like this because there's no appeal to it. But hey, it might speak to you. Like music, I don't care what this. I don't hear well, right? So I don't pick out lyrics well. So as a general rule, I don't care what the song's about. I don't care what the actual words in the song are generally because it's the meaning is lost on me. So for me, if I don't like the sound, if I don't like the beat, if I don't like the where the song is going, what how it makes me feel, then I don't listen to it. And that's one of the reasons I really like music that doesn't have vocals, because then the song can be about what I want it to be about, not necessarily that I wrote it about a prostitute who was I'm trying to get like okay, I have no encounters with prostitutes, okay, so that's like not gonna appeal to me, you know. I hate Boston accent. Yeah, I can't even stand listening to Bill Burr. You know, people say he's really funny. I can only listen to him for a little while. There's always one of those things that they can tell what part they'll be like some. We can tell what part of the U.S. is from by what you call this, by what you call this drink. I shouldn't say that because that's a brand name. This drink, and supposedly in the South, everybody calls a bubbly refreshment a Coke, regardless of what it is. I don't. I always call it soda. Always do. I don't call it pop. I call it soda. You go get some soda. It's just what I do. So that thing doesn't work on me because I should be calling it Coke. Okay, shall we continue with the top head view? You guys like that? That's the appeal of Marilyn Manson's songs. He is a master lyric writer. I don't know that I've ever listened to his lyrics. I think the most unfortunate accent has to be like Alabama. No matter how intelligent and well educated you are, at least how you people are going to think you're ignorant. It's soda, damn it. Amen, brother. Alabama. I got a story about Alabama. I used to live there when I was really little, and people are super nice there. But I get what you. But I don't have a problem with a Southern accent. But there's a channel that keeps subscribed to me, and it has to do with firearms. And there's a girl that does like firearms and stuff, and she's extremely attractive. She's very cute, but when she opens her mouth, it's all gone because she sounds like an ignoramus, and I don't like dumb girls. Never have, you know. That drove me nuts when I lived in Pittsburgh. Yints, they call it soda pop, and it drove me up a wall. They also call rubber bands gum bands for some stupid reason. I think that's what it was called. Maybe you're just stuck in the 1700s. Hey, you got one of them gum bands? All right, let's look at the side view of this thing. She's not blonde. She's extremely attractive. Okay, let's look at the side here. Okay. All right. Let's see if I can find it easy. I'll send you the link on God, what's her name? Oh, that would be bad. That would be bad. Let's see what. Did I lose my mouse here? Her name's Hannah something or another. I gotta have to go through Facebook or whatever. And I hate when you get something suggested and you're like, I'm not interested in this, and it keeps coming up. It's like, what I gotta do? Cancel my Facebook account? Let's see. Okay, her name is Hannah Barron. HANNAHBA2R's. She's extremely cute. And, but I can't stand her. And if you look at the comments, oh, I love your accent, darling. I'm like, well, you must be an ignoramus too. I think you get the same kick out of World War II decal painting as you get from medieval heraldry. Oh yeah, that's why I like it so much. I do. It's empowering. But really, I'm fine using decals, but when I came across a set of decals that were so thick that I couldn't use them, it was it sucked. And then paying shipping for all of them, that's the only reason I started painting, Yeah, that's the channel. Yep. I mean, she sounds like she's slow, Oh well. And I like people from the South, but that's way too far south. That's way down the well. All right, I got to decide this stripe is going to be on top or that on bottom of that handle. So where is the side view? Okay, the side view's up here. So I got to make. All right, so here's when you got to make like executive decisions. Look how much space. Look how, what I like to call it. Look how much meat is above that white line there. And so that white line is halfway between the rooftop and that side periscope, or that side slit. That's going to be a pretty thin line. It's going to be a lot thinner than it looks on there. But if I make it thicker, it's going to go through the periscope, because this isn't necessarily the same proportion as it is there on that drawing, which means something is off. So we're just going to draw it between those two things, and we're going to stay off that periscope. We don't want it to go through that periscope line. She's definitely attracted, yeah. See what I mean? Yeah, her accent is just like, wow. That's what happens when you keep marrying your sister over and over again. Joder, qué frío hace en España. Oh, I wish the frío was here. I love el frío. I'm nice and insulated for it. Yeah, people from the South don't sound like that. I mean, some places do, but just like people from up north don't sound like they're all from Brooklyn. Like I went to New York City and I didn't hear that many people that had a really bad accent. Of course, we were invading them, so there was a lot of us that were in that area that don't have that accent. All right, let's go really, really thin so we can draw that. And the important thing is, what does this look like when it comes around the front? Okay. Ooh. What happens when we get to the front of that turret? All right, we're going to avoid this round section is what they tell me to do. Right. Okay. And then let's do it across the top here. Yeah, I love the medieval heraldry. And I'll go back and paint medieval stuff. I don't know what I'm going to do with it. I just think that if I'm putting this much effort into doing stuff of this level, I want the rules to kind of value that. I don't think DBA does that. I think DBA is just too generic for all the flair that I'm putting in stuff. And I don't want to put less flair, like, make a medieval army and you can use it for everybody. I mean, who the hell wants to do that? I want to like paint stuff. I want like models that you can play with, Miami hace calor siempre. Yep. And the worst thing about Miami is people there are just nasty to each other for no reason whatsoever. Miami is like the worst of capitalism. I'm an avid fan of capitalism, but you can have too much, Money shouldn't drive everything. Una vecina mía que fue novia de Cristiano Ronaldo. I feel like I should know who that is, but I don't. Maybe check out Triumph. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I've tried it, and I'm not going to get into why I don't play it, but, well, I will. The two main reasons I don't play it is because, and I know all those guys, is they changed the rules on us twice before we went for Historicon. So we had to like relearn how to play their game. Nobody wanted to play it in Florida. It doesn't do anything better than, it doesn't really do much better than DBA 3.0. It still has the same problems DBA 3.0 has. It has many of the same problems. And they changed the rules on us twice before we went up there. Well, not necessarily on us, but it just so happened that just before the big convention, they changed the rules and we had to relearn how to play the rules again. I'm like, I just don't have time for that. I'm not playing a game again that has perfect conforming. I'm just not going to do it. I will give up playing Ancients before I play a game that you can't fight like this. Or like this. I'm not going to play Ancients again. It's asinine. I'm tired of explaining shit to people that doesn't make any sense to me as well. It's kind of like you work at this company, right? So you work at a company and the people above your pay grade said, hey, you need to tell your workers that this is how we need to do things, but it's something you don't believe in, but somehow you have to still sell it. I don't want to do that, Llamada Marisa Sandoval. You're playing Triumph at the end of the month. Yeah. And then the big icing on the cake is that a lot of this stuff is inspired by DBA, and there's nothing wrong with that. But they refuse to mention it. And I think their reasoning is they're going to get sued. Well, I think it's just dishonest to not give people credit where credit is due. I've met Phil Barker. I think he's a nice guy. He does not know how to explain things. And we're on the front lines trying to get people to play his game for no money. Not that I want money. I'm just saying that we're being tortured by the same thing over and over again that can't be fixed. Every time we play a game, we encounter things that are like, well, what do the rules say? And it's ambiguous. And whatever decision we make is kind of on the cuff. And you can't solve that anymore. And when you have a job where it's like, we have this problem, we gotta make sure it doesn't happen again. There's no way to do that in DBA. If there's no way to do that in a rule set, I don't want to play that rule set anymore. So I'm out of competitions. I'm not doing competitions anymore because it's really, and it's not that it's my way or the highway. We're all playing the game the same way, and we all kind of feel the same way how the rules should be, but that's not how they read. I'm just done with those fights, So I'm not going to do them anymore. Let somebody else do that. So I'm going to play this. The rules are out of print. Perfect. Okay? And we're just gonna roll with it. And something comes across, I encounter something like, well, that doesn't make sense. The loader should be the commander in that tank, not the other way around. I fucking change it. Not like, well, that's what we got to deal with. We're not dealing with stuff anymore, okay? So, anyhow, enough of that. Because first it's like, okay, we got to play DBA because I don't want these tens of thousands of armies that thousands of hours that I've painted these armies to not use them. And now I'm like, I'd rather not use the armies that I have painted ever again than continue having these discussions that don't solve themselves about the game. That's really changed, you know. So and I'm a lot happier. I mean, I've played the game almost 2,500 times, and you still encounter shit that you do wrong. You know, it's really, you know, that you find out later you did wrong. It's really unsatisfying. I'm going to go want to play some managers games, hopefully get someone to buy my 28mm bolt action. Well, it's a lot better than bolt action. There's some cool things about it. Honestly, I wish to just acknowledge where the inspiration comes from. And they do things like they call it. And I know those guys. I don't have a problem with the people who developed it. You know? They call it the legacy system. Like, stop dancing around it and just give people credit where credit's due. Same thing with Art de la Guerre. Lots of people like Art de la Guerre. And I'm really tempted to kind of mess with the Renaissance one. But Art de la Guerre flat out lifted stuff from Phil's works and doesn't give him any credit, and they charge for it. And that's just like, that's the wrong attitude to have, you know? Oh, I'll be playing something. I cannot play World War II and still computer game World War II and do this. It's not as long as I'm playing something, as long as I'm painting something. Because that's what I really want to do. Is this scratches my creative itch. And I was really tired of organizing everything. I always felt like the minority whip. Like, hey, are you going to vote for this? Don't forget this show's coming. And it's like, nobody steps up. And I'm like, let it fucking die then, you know? So, make up your own rules. I'm not a rules guy. So I don't want to sit around and, I'm working on some stuff, and I'm working on some stuff with the guys I play with. I don't feel like sitting around here and working on rules. And then, hey, guys, this is what I came up with. I feel like we should all come up with it at once, at the same time. Because I don't have to explain things. I did this, and this is why I did it. I'm like, explaining stuff to folks over and over again is just, you know, that's too much like work. So. Oh, nice. This flow aid, man, if you guys don't have it, it's wonderful. Let's see how close to the... I may go a little bit thicker so it stands out a little bit, but not much more. So this is a liner brush type. And as you know, every brush is different. But as a general rule, I think liners work a lot better for this. Yeah, I used to enjoy watching Mitch game. We had great games. But at the end of the day, you know, it's just game other stuff. We played Ironclads last week and we had a hell of a great time. Well, at least I did. And the more I did that, I was depriving myself of doing this. And you know, at what point am I going to put off doing this? When I can't do it anymore? All right, we may clean that up a little bit later, but for the most part, we got the band where we want it. Let's add some more. Some of this pure white. Even though I'm adding pure white, it's thinned enough that it's semi-transparent to a degree. You know, there's kind of a big glob there. Let's ditch that. Yep, well, live streams aren't going to stop because it helps me get through this. Because this is boring to do this by yourself. It's stupid, you know? It's a waste. Look, I'm working on something. I don't know if anything's going to come of it. It probably won't because it takes a lot more horsepower than I'm willing to give it. But it's fun for the time now. I'm not going to run it at shows. It's not going to compete with people that want to play 3.0. I'm not going to poo-poo 3.0. It's a great game. It's just I'm tired of being tortured by it. You know? Yeah, steady hand, it's braced. It really is. It's got to be braced. Those people that paint midair, they're witches. Okay, the 20. The 20 is on the backside of this periscope. Oh no. And there's a grab handle there. Might be executive decision time. How is it on the other tank? Lower. Okay, we're going to do it lower on this one and avoid the grab handle and the 20 and the periscope. So we're going to put it under the periscope. See, that's the thing is, I tried cleaning up the best I was willing to do, and you still have that line on that turret because it's just the two halves just don't fit right together. So you know. You just have to admit, at some point, you just have to just kind of go with what you have. Another gym day at the club, biceps and shoulders at noon. That's one thing. If you stop going to the gym for a while, I think it was one day I couldn't paint because I was just too jumpy. And then if you keep working those muscles, then you're okay. So it's weird. It's weird how it's that way. Welcome back, Justin. The thing I don't understand is people that can't walk. Whether you paint what makes you happy, okay, quite stay hands on the gym name strong enough. So you hear these people that are so big they can't get out of their own house. I'm like, your legs should be in good enough shape to carry whatever's above them anyways, right? Because you're moving around. I mean, how can they not be? You know, I'm really weak lifting things over my shoulders. Why? Because I don't ever do that. But my legs, it's carrying this fat bastard everywhere I go. You know? So I don't understand the people that are like, I can't walk. I'm like, dude, I can walk like a champ because, you know, I'm walking all the time. That just makes it look like it came out of an authentic Soviet factory. Well, I'm glad you like that. Kind of bugs me a little bit, but makes me feel better that you appreciate the. I think I said, you know, if you're gonna have a vehicle that looks rustic, it might as well be a Soviet one. Let's go ahead and put both of them exactly underneath the periscope. That seems kind of a logical place for it to be, assuming the periscope's the same on both places. And we're going to do a 2 and a 0, and the style is a little bit block and squarish. So let's try doing a square-ish 0. We need to add more substance to this, or paint to this color. Let's see how we do. I'm wondering when this brush is going to start sputtering and I'm going to have to switch it out. Because eventually they will all crap out on you. Okay, that's going to be the 0. And then we'll put the leg on the 2. How is that? Is it at an angle? It's at an angle and has a tiny little straight piece at the end. All right. That's not normally how I do my 2s. So I like to do them in the style that the person who painted them did them. Is that square down? Yeah. Okay. I need to quit my day job. Yeah, mine's a little fatter. Hey, as long as I'm consistent on the other side. Upward shoulder press. Yeah, I did. I'm just really weak there. I really enjoy doing flies. I really enjoy doing flies. They just, you know, they just feel right, you know. All right, we'll go to the other side. About how big is that? Got it. All right, let's the split's right in the middle of periscope. Yep, right in the middle of periscope. Perfect. It doesn't have to be, well, it's not going to be exact. It just needs to be enough to fool your eye. That's what she said. I missed it. I didn't know that was from The Office because I'm from the 80s, so I remember it from the 80s. I never watched I try to watch The Office and it's not funny. To me. I've really been enjoying Community. Oh man, I almost had a pee yourself freaking moment. You know, when you're watching something by yourself and you're laughing out loud in your car at lunchtime, you know it's funny. Not every episode, but a few of them are just. I appreciate some of that humor. I mean, it should all be a piece of cake compared to that frickin' slogan they did yesterday. Yeah, we're gonna have to clean this one up a little bit. We didn't do as good a job as we should have. Perfect. Now, let's see if the miracle of a wet palette still works. This is the color I want, this dark green. Is it still alive? It is. It is. It's not like I can't mix it, but it's nice that I don't have to. I have not tried it. I may. Saw they're doing a Frasier. Never watched the original show. Woke Nightmare, I'm out. I don't watch Woke Nightmares. I'll watch things that pick on everybody. Everything's fair game. I'll watch insensitive stuff. Doesn't have to be full of cussing or, but I like edgy things. In Soviet Russia, number paints you. Well, it's big, a little bigger on this side than it is on this side, but it doesn't bug me too much. So we're going to leave it be. There it is. There's the turret of this bastard. I guarantee if they hand painted it on the real tank, it probably looks more out of whack than this. Seems like all the movies and shows coming out are now just SJW, pandering. Yeah, don't watch new shows, watch old shows. We're working our way through the old Night Court. As a family, I should say. Try to watch something as a family. We've done Friends. Friends is so freaking good. Just compared to anything else, it is just really, really good. Really, really good. Or, for us anyways. I want to do Married with Children, but I think I might be the only one to... I watched a couple episodes of that and I'm like, damn. They got away with this. Excellent. I'm going to watch more. Like that turret a lot. Reacher, I haven't seen it. I watched part of the movie. That probably turned me off. I'm sure it's better. You haven't seen Married with Children in decades? Oh man. It's so funny because everybody gets ripped on. That's what I enjoy. I don't enjoy where, characters are like off limits. Rip on everybody. Honestly, one of the best characters on that show is Bud. Man, Bud has some great situations that happen. Okay. But that's what it is. Nothing's off limits. Now it's like, oh, that might offend somebody. Well, maybe they need to grow a backbone. It's just comedy, man. That's when we started having all these problems when we couldn't laugh about this or that or, you know. And you shouldn't have to cuss to get the point across. Okay. That's done. I believe we go, next step is road wheel time. So there's no point in painting a bunch of tanks from this one unit when you can see lots of different varieties or whatever. So I didn't do that with the Panzer IIIs and the Czech 38s when I got them. I think it was a little, maybe because I got all three of them at once. But if I got like three more, I'd paint them for a different, not necessarily a unit, because I'm not putting unit markings on them. But Living Color, Chappelle Show, yeah. Mad TV, oh, some of those are really funny. Chappelle Show. Man, that blind white supremacist. That's so freaking funny. But if you find that offensive, then I guess we can't be friends. Just. Yeah, I like Dave Chappelle. Okay, let's go around here. Pass out a few hours of rest. Okay. Find somewhere comfortable to pass out. I remember back in the day when I would stay up till 2 o'clock in the morning. I wouldn't get up till like 11. Like, I can't imagine waking up at 11 o'clock on like a Sunday now. Okay, so let's do this side. Honestly thought painting the road wheels was going to be more torturous. And, well, not torturous, but more aggravating. And it isn't. Painting like a bunch of like sandals or something on 24 Romans is a lot more aggravating. Because there's not that many repetitive things on a tank. You got road wheels, and that's about it. You don't have the same thing over and over again for a bunch of them. Okay, let's flip over to this side. Even though most of this will be covered. Let's flip to the other one. Okay, let's go to the other side. Doesn't really take that long. See, did I end up liking the color wood I used? I think I did. It's just a little glossy looking because it's not sealed. We're waiting to get the stuff that comes in tomorrow. Of course, I won't be able to use it till Tuesday. The airbrush matte, and we're going to experiment with something I don't care about. Probably be good to experiment with like this Czech 38 or something that has no hope. Oh look, the tank's right there in the full view. That's cool. I have in living color on DVD and Chappelle's show. Chicken stir fry talking. Okay. I was going to ask you about something about the gym. I'll wait till you get back. I'd like to say I go every day, but I don't make a big deal out of it. I don't make a big deal out of it. I know that many years ago that when we went to one, you have to sign this sheet and keep track of your stuff. And man, it was just like work. I don't have a goal in mind. I just need to get more movement than I'm normally getting. And every time you leave, you feel better. You got to get there. Okay. Let's go to this side here. Nine folks watching. Got more people watching stuff now that I'm doing World War II stuff. Is it just me, or more people are more interested in World War II? That's good, because that's what we're doing for, I don't know if I could say the long haul. Probably. I got plenty of stuff to do. I told you guys this was my first love, and maybe you guys understand, believe me now. This is where I belong. Okay. That's done. That's probably dried up now. Let's do the tracks. The only unit that I think is going to have unit symbols on it is when I do Africa Corps. I'm going to do that I'll have to put the little palm on there. I wonder if I got to be careful with that, putting that thing on there, not get banned from. Well, the way about it is just Don't show me painting those vehicles. I'm not going to like not put them on there. I mean, they're like minuscule to begin with. And nobody's painting little 1/72nd scale Africa Corps vehicles and taking them to a white power rally or something like that. You know, but I know that there's automatic filters that kick in. There's stuff that's being automatically filtered. And it doesn't even require folks being there. No humans involved. And that happens with music. I was doing a show about a year and a half ago, whatever, and the girls were watching a sitcom. And I couldn't even hear the theme music, but the microphone picked it up, and all of a sudden you have a copyright violation for music. I'm like, music? There's no music on my shows. I don't have anything playing in the background. And sure enough, it picked it up. And I couldn't make it out on the video, but somehow the electronic stuff could. So I'm always telling the girls, make sure the theme song doesn't come on, because that stuff is automated, and you can't check common sense at the door. You got to check common sense at the door, and even that's not very helpful with some people. But still, I don't want to go down a slope that I got a problem with a video. And it's not because I don't want to offend anybody. I don't care about that. If you're offended by the stuff that I say, then you need to get some thicker skin. Because there's lots of stuff I don't like, and I just don't let it get to me. People are entitled to an opinion, but I want to make sure that we can keep this media thing going, because this is what keeps me entertained to continue making stuff. We'll do the end of the tracks last. Do I think you'll paint a KV2? I do, as soon as I find a model of one. I do, and that's affordable. I was looking for the Pegasus model one, that they actually were really cool, that they came with a KV1 and a KV2 and 2 turrets. They came with, they come 2 tanks and a thing, so you got 2 hulls and 4 turrets. So 2 KV1 turrets, 2 KV2 turrets. So you could switch them out, and that one's been out of print, out of production. I don't understand how plastic models go out of production that aren't that old, but they do. So that's the only reason I don't have one yet. They're coming. They're coming at some point as soon as I find one. I just don't want to spend $18 for one tank that I don't necessarily need right now. So yes, I will be. You see that game scenario where I was playing the Call to Arms? What's it called? Call to Arms, Gates of Hell, not Call to Arms, Gates of Hell, Ostfront, and I had a Panzer III G, I think it was, with a 50mm cannon, and it was like a point blank range. It was literally touching the back of the KV2, and the round would not penetrate. The round would not penetrate, whether it was the turret or whether it was the rear armor. Actually, if I remember correctly, KVs have a really high percentage of armor on their sides and back compared to their front. What I mean is, let me just use numbers. Let's say they have 100mm of armor to the front. I think some have even more than that. Their sides are like 80, and their back might be like 75, instead of like a Panther that's, a lot more on the front compared to the rears. So, ironically, I just found a 15mm one from Panzer Troopers for $8. Yeah, well, I want it to look good too. I don't want to buy, crappy stuff that I'm going to have to, I'm going to spend a fair amount of time painting it. So I want if I'm going to go out and buy something, I want it to be of good quality. That's why I have so much of a problem with some of the 3D printed stuff out there. I'm afraid, I don't want to go and spend money on painting something that has a bunch of like lines 3D printed. So I've kind of foregone that. I've got plenty of stuff to work on right now that I don't need anything to keep going. But I've got some vehicles from BP Cast, which honestly are pretty poor. I'm going to paint them. Why? I have them. But if they were still in business, would I buy more stuff from them? Hell no. because there's other things that are available. So the stuff I already have, I either need to throw away, which I don't really want to do, or paint it, which is then free because I've had it for umpteen years. And it feels good to paint stuff that you've had for a couple decades. I got to be over 50 vehicles now since the last show. And if I was doing 15mm armies, I'd probably be struggling to finish the next army. So I won't be painting 15mm stuff for no time, anytime soon. Hey Rick, I hope somebody puts. Remember that game that you and your son were playing with the aircraft game? I hope they put something like that on at the show. I'll play it because I got a free slate now. We're gonna play other stuff. I'm gonna show up at other people's games and liven up the atmosphere. There's a lot of people go and play these games at the convention. I'm like, man, they're just like not having any fun. Of course, that might be fun for a while, and then I realize, man, these guys are like made of iron, and no way to spice things up. There's a lot of folks you go to play at a convention, man. They're upset when they're winning. They're upset when they're losing, and it's not even a tournament. Like, well, you shouldn't be gaming. I'm not talking about Rick. Rick's got a good attitude. Rick actually has too good of an attitude considering how poorly he rolls. But you know what I'm talking about. There's some folks out there that are just like, if gaming is causing you that kind of stress, you need to like quit it, because it's not like it's paying any bills or anything. You will have air games. Okay. Oh, get ready. We'll have to test the waters and see what kind of thin-skinned people are out there. Because I'll play, like, if I'm playing like a Pacific game or whatever, I'm playing Japanese, I'm making Japanese voices and shit like that while I'm playing. It's not disrespectful to them, it's just, that's what you do. I love Japanese stuff. Japanese airbrush is excellent. I wouldn't drive a car that's not Japanese, but hey, let's have fun while we're at it. Not like, that might offend somebody. Well, as my boss used to say, you get some thicker skin. Can I go Thursday? Absolutely not. Absolutely not Thursday. I went one time. I'm a really quick learner. I was talked into going to Siege of Augusta once. It was a massive fail, the amount of people that didn't show up. And I'm like, it cost me another night in a hotel and everything, and time off from work. And I'm like, did not have the value there that it should have. Can't handle gamers that aren't enjoying themselves unless they're humiliating their opponent. No, you need to laugh at funny shit that happens. Sometimes bad things happen to your own guys. You need to be able to laugh at that. This is the one that's actually, I cut off the track. I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to try to take a bit and put it on the drill next time I have to cut it and see if that helps out with this. The thing is this looks pretty damn good without any weathering on it. It's almost like a shame to weather it, but it does look better. It just kind of makes it look more uniform. Yeah, it's not that heavy on it. I don't want to do the side. It looks a little better. It looks better in person, but it's very washed out. You're getting a lot of like white to it. like the little details on the turret top. They make some kind of stand out a little bit. Can't handle gamer. There's a lot of them. A lot of people, I'm going to say something that might not make some of you happy, but I think a lot of people that play games, you know, they're losing at life, and they use the game as to kind of get a win. And, you know, the other side's trying to win too. So normally there's about a 50-50 chance you're not going to win the game. So you can't have all your hopes of happiness reside in this game that you may not win, because the other side's trying to win too. And some of it is that. There was a guy, I'm not going to mention who he is, but there's a guy who had a bad attitude. And I think he had some health problems. I'm sure he had some health problems at one of the shows I used to go to. And I was trying to get this one guy that I knew locally to play DBA for the longest time. And I finally got him to play. And he shows up and he gets put on the side, this other guy who's a grump. And they're a sore winner and they're a sore loser. Gets put on the same side as him. And he had such a bad experience with him, he never played DBA again. And he was a local player. So this guy turned him off from playing DBA because he was basically a dickhead. Because, you know, he had some health issues, which, you know, his life sucked in real life. And he just brought that onto the tabletop and turned people off from, you know, gaming. So, and this guy was he was definitely a penis wrinkle, you know. Every time I played with him, it was just an unsavory experience. Now, I'll tell you this, that is the exception to the rule. Most of my experiences with people have been very positive in playing, you know, DBA, but you just ran somebody off just because, okay, so your real life sucks and you got dealt a bad card, but you're bringing that onto the tabletop and turning other people off, you know? So, I'd like to think that I'm not one of those people, you know? Hopefully I'm getting people excited for the hobby. And that's another reason I do this is, you know, I've watched other people's videos a lot and they've gotten me excited about this wonderful hobby we have. And I'm like, well, it's my chance to give back. You know, I'm not the world's expert on everything, but there's some skills I've acquired and I don't mind sharing them with other people. You know, there are people out there that are like, oh, let me do this video and let me edit everything so it looks like I'm like a god and don't make any mistakes. Dude, that's harmful. You're not showing people that, you know, bad stuff. Oh, well, bad stuff. You got to make mistakes so that people know how to correct them. You know, I'm not impressed by somebody supposedly being infallible. So, and it's a lot of work to edit stuff, you know. I think it's more important to be real than people like you. I gotta make sure people like me. Hey, we've all been in grade school. Everybody's been hated by somebody. Just get over it, you know? I dislike lots of people. You know, being disliked by me is not an elite group. there's lots of, you got a lot of people in the row in the same boat with you, you know? Oh, man. I think it's more important to be real. I'd like to think when you meet me in person, if you ever do, I'm the same person. You know? Be true to yourself. Actually, do whatever you want, you know? If you want to be fake, be fake. I just think it's too much work. It's too difficult keeping your lies straight, you know? I think I may have gone and added white at this point. Let's add a little bit more color on the bark of this tree. Obviously, we're going to paint the ends differently. Now we're going to add some white to that. Don't need very much. But the importance of one thing that's really important to have a good attitude is play with people that have good attitudes. Because we've all played against somebody you don't want to lose against because they're an asshole. Okay? And, you know, that's just fuel for them. So don't play with assholes. The people I play with, I don't mind losing to any of them. I'd rather not. I mean, you try to play like you don't, but, you know, other guys trying to win too. It's not like it's a foregone conclusion. If it was, I wouldn't play it. What's the point? What's the point in playing something you already know it's going to turn out? It's like wrestling. Oh, Nordic's asleep talking about wrestling. He knows that it's staged, but I don't see a value in playing and watching that. All right, let's see if we can bring any of this, we can necromance this stuff back to life. And there's a knot over here somewhere that I saw. There it is. Let's just pretend they cut that off relatively recently and it's still that color. Speaking of new stuff, I got in-service miniatures M18s with sandbags yesterday. Is that in 20 mil? If it is, you know I'm going to go look at it right now. M18s. Hellcats. One of my favorite vehicles to play and like roll the tanks. Although I don't think that's a very good game, but I have played it. But man, Hellcats are fast. So you can get somewhere and get into position. That tank destroyer symbol is really cool there with that cap biting the tracks in half. I like that. It's one thing that the U.S. No, 285th. Oh man, you make me sad. I'm done with my 285th bout. That was many, many years ago. Why did you go with in-service and not the other stuff that's still available? Maybe all your stuff is in service. Anyways, I like the tank destroyer symbol. Unlike the U.S. Armor Division symbol, which I think is extremely ugly. Don't take offense to it. You didn't design it. Or did you? That triangle with the red, blue, and yellow. That's just doesn't appeal to me. That doesn't appeal to me. And all three of them are the same. You know, they just have a little detail or something in one of the triangles or a number underneath. I forget which one it is, but it's like, that's a turn off. Okay, we got that. I'm gonna fill in this with black because this thing's glaring me in the face where I drilled that out. There we go. Whew. A lot better now. All right, we've got a headlight to do, which we won't do until we do the weathering. I haven't done the other ones until I've done the weathering. This thing's probably dry enough to dry brush. Now I'm going to do something that I did yesterday, and it's probably extreme to do it, but I don't want to mess up the stuff that I did. And that's, I'm going to go ahead and seal this. I'm going to paint over it so I don't have to don't have to fix any of this stuff. And it's probably not necessary, but nope, that's white. Where's the matte finish? I probably should keep it somewhere separate. No, that's glazed medium. That has the opposite effect, which is actually kind of a neat product to work with. Let's put my glasses on so I can see at a distance. Matte varnish, there we go. They were so hard to find back in the day. Exotic molds, all of them. Oh, okay, it's an old company. I had some old Crusaders that I bought from somebody, and they were GHQ, but they were really rough looking. And they had barrels that were probably to scale and broke really, really easy. I'm going to put this here just because it's convenient. But they were the early GHQs that weren't around when I started gaming. I don't know when GHQ started, but they must have been from the 70s because they were very ancient looking. I had some Crusader ones that were like that. Not that I can't fix it, I just don't want to. That might help protect it. I don't want to go over it and then like pull some of that off. All right, we'll leave that alone. All right, I need to go get some water. I'll be right back. 6 viewers, and we will go ahead and do some dry brushing. That view's actually not bad. What if I did something like this? There you go. Might have a little bit better idea. We can go ahead and ditch this image now. All right, have a little bit better view. If you guys like this view, let me know. You know, I'm not trying to hide stuff that I do from you guys. That defeats the purpose. Be right back. Okay. Gotta stay hydrated. So I found the old Eschi kits, and Rick, you might find this useful because I don't know if you were on here last night when I was talking about this, but you find out new stuff and about World War II, and I feel like I need to share it with everybody because it's really a fascinating period. Just when you think you know so much, or I should say that it becomes difficult to find new things, you find out new things. This is the Eschi kit that comes with the T-34s and you know the extra crewmen and stuff like that come on here. These tanks had these boxes, and here's one of them right here, and right here, and they normally go here on like at a 45 degree angle, kind of like this. You'd place it like that. And I'm like, okay, well, I don't know exactly what tools in there. I come to find out that they had these boxes and they filled them full of dirt. And they used that haphazardly as extra protection. The same way the logs were actually extra protection as well. Obviously, you could use other things with them, but I just figured they were just extra logs in case they had to carry across a trench or something like that. Not thinking that, yeah, you could double them as extra armor. I mean, I knew the Shermans used them as extra armor, but yeah, the Soviets did as well. I don't know how helpful it would be. I would imagine if you had a big log on the side of your tank and you have a penetrating round, it probably would make it worse because now you're going to turn into toothpicks everywhere. But generally, any protection's better than not having any. It could deflect a round or something. I don't know. But I did not know that these boxes were full of dirt. So, learn something new every other day. Yeah, and I could have customized these guys even more. I've got green stuff, which I haven't experimented much with at all, but there's extra little tarps and stuff that I can stick to the side of them. I could make this stuff out of green stuff, and I probably should try my hand at doing stuff like that in the future, but, I don't want to get bogged down with doing that kind of stuff when there's enough detail on these models. So we just made them a little different by where the wood goes on them and things like that. So this one's got 2 fuel tanks. This one's got and 1 piece of wood. This one's got 2 pieces of wood and no fuel tanks. This one has 4 fuel tanks and no wood. Just mixing and matching them up a little bit. Just give them kind of a unique appearance, so to speak. All right. Let's, we can put this away, right? We're done with everything that would entail with this. Yes, the dry brushing you do not need a wet palette for dry brushing. It's not helpful. Not if you're going to use something straight out of the bottle. And let's learn my lesson and use a little piece of cardboard to dry brush, not directly on here where I can end up picking up some of it and carrying it off. So this is epoxy / dry brush thing, and let's get some US field drab. And these are the colors that end up going in the base stands. This one and Iraqi sand. At least for temperate zoned basing. This is still wet. Let's get this out of the way. Which one of these did we use for dry brushing? One of them just looks like it's just been raped. Yeah, this one. How's this looking like? Okay, let's just give it a little bit of protection. Gonna have any infantry done for recon? Why? I'm not playing DBA. I'm done playing DBA 3.0, and I'm not running anything, so I'm not bringing any armies to recon. I am going to bring a couple tanks, because on my to-buy list, well, I should say that loosely, on my look-to-buy list, I want to see if somebody has a good mat that I like, a gaming mat, which I have an airbrush now, so there's a little bit less of an incentive to get one. I could just make my own. But just to see how my tanks fit on it, you know. So, am I going to have any infantry done? I have infantry done. I need to rebase them. I have infantry done that I really, really like how they turned out. This guy in particular, I keep bringing him up because he's right here. Let's see if I can get this guy close enough. I painted this guy up. Oh, it's awful lot of white in the photograph, but you get the idea. These are combat miniatures that I painted in the mid-90s, and the basing sucks. I got to redo the basing, but other than that, they're good to go. And I probably have a platoon worth of Germans, and I've got less so Soviets. So when I paint vehicles, when I paint infantry, I'm going to start with the Soviets. So I don't know. I'm not making plans. I never want to. I got to get this done by a show ever again. I don't want to do that ever again. That was one of the big turnoffs for me doing tournament stuff. I got to get these guys done by a certain time. So if you're looking forward to playing DBA, I believe the other guys might be running something. I doubt it'll be in every single session like I used to do, but you know, I don't want to be chained down to not be able to try other games. And you know, they force you to list your games so far in advance that you can't see where other things you want to play, and then list your games accordingly. So I end up missing out on maybe stuff I want to play, and then have an open session where I don't committed, where there's nothing else I'm interested in. So I'm just going to go hang out, have a good time, no responsibilities, etc. That's my goal. So I don't know if that answers your question, or if I answered a different question that you didn't know, but I haven't played DBA 3.0 since October 4th, and I don't plan on going back to it. I'll play other ancient stuff that we're working on that's DBA-ish, but it'll never be at shows. I don't want to poo-poo and take away people that want to play 3.0. That's not my intent. Other people, that might be other people's intents when they leave a system. I'm taking everybody with me. I'm not interested in that. You know, I'm tired of being the, honestly, the biggest drive for it is I'm tired of being the minority whip. Hey, you going to this show? Are you coming? When is it? How do you not know when the hell the show is? It's always the same thing, you know? I don't think what's his name is on here anymore from Spain, but one of my favorite Spanish sayings, and I use it all the time, is "Tú eres el que tienes que ser interesado." And literally what it means is you need to be the person that's interested in it. Like if you really want to come to a show and you're interested in going to the show, then you should take it upon yourself to you know, you're not out of touch with it. You know, you know when it's coming because it's what you like to do. I'm just tired of rounding up the forces for this, or I'm going to put on a game. When do you want to run it? And then somebody tells me, and they spend 2 weeks trying to get back to me, and then they put it in the wrong session, so then you have to fix it. I'm tired of that political shit. I don't want to do it anymore. So, hoping to play with our World War II stuff at the con. Not my stuff. No, I'm not bringing my stuff to cons. Sorry, Rick. When I do get this going, okay, I will reach out to you and say, hey, I'm running a game. And it's going to be at my house, because I'm not traveling and putting all this stuff together. I don't know if it'll ever happen, because like I said, I want a game that looks like it comes out of War Games Illustrated, or I don't want to play. I'm not doing all this effort to play something that, you know, you're using felt and crap, you know. That would be silly. So that's my goal. That's my gaming goal, that's how I want to play World War II. Other people have gotten to do it in the past. Why the hell can't I? So, but I'm not bringing it to shows, because I'm sorry, I don't want just random people touching my shit. You're not a problem, okay? Other people that game in our group aren't a problem. But just random people, I signed up for your game, and the guy's going to break my stuff. I'm sorry, I'm not going to. Well, I don't get to break his face? No. So, and 4 hours just isn't long enough to play this. So it's just a different kind of game, you know? And I'm putting everybody on one side, you know? And, you know, I think Don's going to run some Flames of War. I don't mind playing his Flames of War because he runs scenarios. It doesn't scratch the World War II itch for me. And I don't want to spend this amount of detail painting the stuff that I do and then play a game that's that vague. Okay? But I don't mind playing it if it's not with my stuff and I have no interest in it. It just doesn't, that game doesn't motivate me enough with the lack of detail for me to do this level. I don't know if that makes any sense, but I'm not opposed to playing things like that. I just don't want to, you know, I'm not going to use my stuff for, I'm not going to put this much effort into it and then it be that unfulfilling. So. You know, I've done this shit for over 15 years and haven't done other stuff. So it's time to do other stuff. Now, the problem with playing that is generally playing DBA, okay? Like I said, there's only a handful of people that I don't want to ever see on a battlefield again, and it's so pretty much everybody's cool, right? And Thursday night, I'm not coming Thursday. No, it's not worth a hotel room for no gameplay and another day off at work or a half day off at work. It's not worth that. I'll be there all day. All day Saturday, all day Friday, all day Saturday, and the first half of the day Sunday. You know. But I don't know what the hell I was saying. But I don't want to really be involved in DBA for multiple reasons. I don't want to explain stuff to people. You know, I'm just tired. That's tired. It just stopped being fun. And I can't play and not take pictures and not post on all the DBA forums. It's just not like me to do that. So I'd rather just step away from it than do all that stuff. You know, make the awards. You know, there's somebody award. I made an award for Sunday morning, and some guy walked away with it. I don't know who it is. I'm assuming it's a guy. It could be a girl. It's unlikely, but could be. So we had a game and no awards. I don't want to make awards anymore. It's a pain in the ass. I've done it for too long. You know, hopefully I've shown people how to do things and maybe how not to do things, but it's keeping me from doing other stuff I like that I've put off and put off and put off and put off. And although the games are fun, they just become unsatisfying after a while. They could be better. So, you know, have to rush, get things out of the car, put everything up, put things back in the car. It's too much work, man. It's too much. Let somebody who's retired and doesn't have a damn thing to do freaking do it. I've got too much stuff to do at work, and you know, just all the work you got to do ahead of time just to take one stinking freaking day off and then come back and fix it. It just isn't worth it anymore. And the videos are fun to do. I don't want to, but I don't want to play and not do videos. And the videos are a pain. You do them on a work day. I have to edit all the stuff, list it, then it gets posted on the different sites, and then people still don't see it. You know. I don't care if it ruffles people's feathers. Hey, I'm true to myself. That's how I really feel. I had a guy that wanted to like start making DBA, but disappeared for 15 years, shows back up, and he wants to be involved in this, but he doesn't use Facebook to communicate with people. He's got no way to play minority whip. Stir up the votes, so to speak, let people know, get the word out, and he wants to be involved in it and stuff like that. And I'm like, just have fun with it. I've spent the last 2 years since COVID, even before COVID, but during COVID especially, because I didn't want the game to die, doing so much stuff promoting DBA, and people just don't want to show up to play it. That's fine, let it fucking die, And not necessarily Florida. Florida's pretty vibrant, but it just got old. And then this person that comes in out of nowhere to come in and want to get all involved and do this, and we need to, wanting to do political stuff. And I'm not a political thing. I'm not a political person. Like, this is who I am. This is what I want to do. If people like it, they'll come play. If not, they won't. That's that simple, I don't want to, submit people to get awards and prizes and prize support. That's too much. That's too much salesy shit for me. I'm not a salesy person. You're adding things to my hobby that I don't enjoy. So, you want to be involved in it, and he didn't know that we had fucking hundreds of DBA videos out there to teach people how to play the game. So it just that was like a big FU, So, yeah, have fun with it. I'm sure they'll disappear for another 15 years again. Well, if not, the people can fend for themselves. I think Mitch is still going to run stuff. Joe's going to run things. I don't want to keep track of the score sheets or where they are. Post the stuff here, post it there. Yeah, stop being fun. So it's nothing you did, Rick. And there will be other videos of games that, to play. It just won't be 3.0. We're not taking all the 3.0 videos down. We try to do them as best as we could with the information that we had, with the technology that was available, But I'm enjoying the hell out of painting these tanks. And the infantry will be cool too. I haven't painted tanks in so long. And the tanks I had painted I didn't really like. So. Exhaustion is finally overcoming back pain. Okay. Thanks, Jared, for stopping by as always. See you on the next one. No, I don't mind playing other rule sets. But you're going to have to explain them to me. I'm not going to sit here and read the rules over and over again. You know, I feel I'm burned out on that. And be the responsible party to tell other people how to play the game that may or may not show up for another game. Because that happens a lot. You know, you run a learning game and you never see the people again. I'm like, you know, my time's worth something too. I mean, I get people, but, you know, they're not my rules, so I don't need to kill myself for somebody else's rules. Who did a poor job of explaining them, honestly. I think the rules are excellent. I think he's a sharp guy. He's just... oh, we didn't do the dark shade on this. Let's go ahead and do that. It's not my responsibility to do that. You know, I don't mind talking about that stuff in person. I don't mind talking about this stuff on this venue. I don't want to make a video like, this is why I'm not playing this. That's just creating negativity. I actually don't have any negativity with the game. I'm fine. I've had some great times. Met some great folks. I'll continue interacting with those great folks. Just stop asking so much of me. Like I said, you want to continue it? I've shown you, hopefully, how to do it, and maybe even show you how not to do it. But I'm not naturally a tournament player. The only reason I even got involved in tournaments, it was a way to play with my own stuff that I created. There's no point in playing a game for me, for someone who is artistically inclined, and get really excited about it if I don't have any of my own stuff. Okay, I'm creating my own stuff for, you know, hopefully a game at some point in the future, but that's not the end all. The end all is that, you know, I'm painting the stuff that I want to paint. Okay. Got it. Now we can go back to this. We don't need a whole lot, just a little bit just to tie it in. Let me step away from it so I can see what I'm looking at, as I like to say. And I purposefully actually do not put too much here because it helps this turret stand out. You start blending everything together, like if you're using an airbrush or something like that, it all gets lost in the details. Oh, again, I'm not aware of where the camera starts and where the camera ends until I look at it. I'm pretty happy with how those look. And it is important to kind of look at them at like gaming ranges, like out here. And they look better when they're sealed. Right now, there's some glossiness to them in places that it normally won't have them. And they look a lot more faded on your video than it does in real life. That's just the nature of just how that is. Okay, we need to put some gunmetal on the machine gun, and we need to paint the headlight. And then that one's done. Oh, and we need to put some Nuln oil on the back. Let's go ahead and start the Nuln. Let's do the Nuln oil first. I find doing this quite relaxing, actually. 6 people watching. Nobody commenting. You don't have to, but it makes me wonder, is this a bunch of Chinese spies? Well, if they are, I hate communists. So there you go. Take that back home. Take that back to Winnie the Pooh. I better take this turret off so I don't tilt it and unwillingly knock the turret down. Thought about possibly magnetizing all that stuff. That's more trouble than it's worth. Yeah, I'll leave the stuff here. Nobody else has to help clean up other than me, so I don't have to worry about other people damaging my stuff. Let's do something I talked about doing and didn't. Let's add some of this on the exhaust. Is it even noticeable? Barely. So after these 4 tanks are done, we're obviously not going to do any T-34s for a little bit. Mix things up. We have 3 Chelyabinsk ones to do, and I believe we have 3 or 4 more of this type to do. So yeah, I got like 7 more of this model T-34 to do. And then I still have a bunch of early ones. And I'm going to do one in that gray camo from the snow. That may or may not be an actual camouflage scheme, but it just looks just absolutely sexy. So I got to do one of those. But that's a Model 41 T-34 that has that scheme. But I don't think I'm going to put any snow groundwork on any particular vehicles, because then it boils down to like, okay, now I need snow troops with snow on the ground too, and you know, I got infantry to do. I certainly don't need to split them into different theaters of operation. Some are working in the snow, some aren't. That's a bit much. Wet palette for the little headlight. Me with a little headlight. What time is it? Almost 9. We're going to stop after this headlight. Oh, we need to have it on this side here. Now, I really enjoyed the job I did with this on the Opel Blitzes. Everything else I've not done such a good job on, and I don't know why. I'm trying to do them the same way, so I can redo this at any point. You know, that doesn't have enough of a contrast between the two, so let's go back to that for a moment. that's worse. What happened here? There we go. Now we'll lighten it up a little bit. And then we have any white that's damn near pure. Okay, that will work for now. Okay, and we're done here with another T-34. Okay, well, as always, thanks folks for stopping by. We will catch you guys on the next one. Happy painting, enjoy your Sunday, and we will see you soon.